Everybody will go through this, and it gets very nerve-wracking. People get very nervous when they have to go to interviews, constantly thinking of the things they're going to have to say. So tell us, how can people prepare for that?
Yeah, that's a very interesting topic. I thought of picking it for the people today. And there's a lot of fear factor and a nervousness and curiosity when people go for the interviews. And I'm going to touch on that go, and I'm going to show a path. How can people attend an interview with an easy mind? Now, there's a phrase which says, prior preparation prevents poor performance, right? So remember that phrase always. You have to prepare and prepare very well in advance to be successful in any event. And then go with an easy mind.
Yeah.
So what I will recommend is preparation has a couple of factors. It's also said that the first impression makes the last impression. First 7 minutes, first 7 seconds of your appearance in the interview board makes a lot of difference, right? So from that perspective, it is very vital that your first element is you're dressed well. I will call it dress to kill. Now, you don't need to really show off, but you should be sharply dressed. Okay, for guys, it could be to be a little more detailed here. You could have a nice white shirt or a light color shirt with a little sharp color tie and a blue or a black suit, but you enter sharply dressed.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very vital because people are observing you.
Yes.
Now, second thing is when you go there, enter with a smile. Very important and confident. It means when you're shaking hand with them, you have to give a firm shake hand. Always give a very firm shake hand. And firm shake hand does not mean that you crush the hand.
Yeah.
Okay? Especially, be cautious when you're shaking hand with a lady. Don't give, it's a firm shake hand. And you look confident with a spark in your eyes and very not nervous. So don't be nervous and shaky. Now, why the nervousness comes, it's a psychological issue.
Yes.
If you are very desperate on something, suppose you have failed in a couple of interviews in the past, which can always happen. It's a journey, right? You always think in mind that I'm going to win it today. So you have to seed your subconscious mind, and that is where I'm talking of the X factor. You have to keep seeding your positive mind, positive expectation in your mind. And John Maxwell says there's something called law of expectation. Law of expectation is you get what you expect. You don't get what you wish, but you get what you expect. So seed in your subconscious mind that you're going to win this interview, no matter what. But if you don't win it, that's not the end of the game. Because this is interview winning. It's just the first step of a ladder of a journey of 40 years of corporate career. If you don't win this, you'll win something else. And always have that temperament. It's about your attitude. Attitude about yourself. Your perception about yourself, your self-image and self-belief. And that is what I'm talking about, the X factor. Your perception of yourself, your self-belief on yourself, and your attitude toward yourself. Those three factors are very, very vital. So go there with that attitude that if they don't select me, it's not my loss, it's their loss. Now, yeah.
Now, tell us about, there's that fine line between, having that positive attitude. A lot of people get overconfident as well. So tell us about that.
So the difference, getting prepared itself is what is taking care of the overconfidence. Being optimistic is fine, but you need to be prepared very well. Now, I was talking of the dress code. Okay. Prepare a nice portfolio. Okay. Prepare a nice portfolio. Prepare a list of questions which they're going to say. Do you have any questions for us at the end of the interview? That's a norm. Okay. And now you cannot say, oh, no, I don't have any questions. When you say that, it also tells you poor preparation.
Yes.
So you need to be prepared with a couple of questions very, very clearly. Now, what could that question be? I'm going to touch on that later because that's the last question to be addressed in the interview. But that's what it's about. Then coming to a couple of questions and what will be the X factor there. They'll ask you to talk about, okay, first question in the interview board will be, could you explain yourself about, a couple of words, tell us about yourself. It's a very standard question in the interviews. And I'm sure people have seen many answers for that. But the key factor here is you don't have to start narrating your whole CV. They have the CV in front of them,
Yes.
right? They can read that.
Mhm.
So you don't really need to start reading out the CV. But what they are looking at, they're looking at a couple of things. I have been sitting in the interview boards many times. And what we observe is you look at the confidence level of the person. You look at the clarity of thought process when he talks about his strengths. You look about what is the value he wants to bring to the company. And so that is what they are looking for. Communication style, confidence level, skill set. Now, skill set could be specific skill set you can talk about. Okay, that's very well. So prepare yourself for that very well. And what I'll recommend is that stand in front of a mirror and practice it. Sit down in front of
Yeah.
a spouse or a partner and practice it. Okay, practice those kind of questions and how are you going to do a mock interview at
Yeah.
home.
Yeah. And some people find that strange or silly, but it actually works. It actually does. That's a good point. Yeah.
Absolutely. So do a mock interview and keep prepared about it. So it's always like big speakers always do mock speaking at home first before they go on the stage. It's very vital. And there's nothing wrong about it. That's the right thing to do. Now, second question which will be asked is, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Standard question. Now, first question will be not weaknesses. What will be about your strengths? Again, there's a time to brag about yourself, but don't brag. You need to talk about your strengths and confidence. And that is where, you see, it's like this. You don't sell, but your value sells. You need to be able to differentiate with respect to other candidates. What's your edge? What's your upper edge? As I remember last time I talked about law of awareness here.
Yes. Yeah.
We were talking of unique selling proposition. Exactly that. You need to know your unique selling proposition and present it in a very articulate fashion to them. In a sense that if they ask you a question linked to that, how would you describe yourself in 2 words? The moment this question comes to you, you're stuck.
Yes.
3 words or 2 words. I will ask this question honestly. Okay? And then, you need to pick some very clear words. But you remember one thing. People are very smart sitting on the other side. You can never fake it. Now, the moment you say, I'm a very result-oriented person, I'm a very people's person, and I'm a great planner. Now, you said 3 things about yourself. Fantastic. You know what I'm going to do as an interviewer? I say, Mr. Dileep, would you like to elaborate a little bit about you being a people's person? Share me an instance where you
give an example. Yeah.
Give an example. So whatever you say, be ready to authenticate it with a live example of your career profile. And that is what will put a nail there. Yes, this guy has done it. Okay, there'll be many questions asked to you on the behavioral side. You need to also explain that backed by stories. So be ready with a couple of stories which should actually indicate very clearly that yes, you know what, this guy has done the work.
So you always want examples.
Absolutely.
Of all these things they ask you, so you can back up yourself.
So do your groundwork. People sometimes don't do the groundwork. They talk superficial. The moment interviewers go deeper into it, they fumble. They say, oh man, I really never prepared it. No. You prepared it well. You have to prepare your own stories to back up each of your strengths. Okay? So that is very vital. Now, another question will come to you in the interview board will be, share what's your weakness. Sometimes it can be a bit embarrassing to talk about it, but this question, be ready for it. This is going to come. Now, how do you address that question? Now, if I am asked to that, see, you cannot say, oh, sometimes I lose my temper. Okay, you can't say that. I get angry very soon. No. I am not able to take care of timelines. No. Don't say that. That's already you are hitting yourself.
Yeah.
Now, never say that. You need to be very smart in preparing this answer and answering this question. I was asked this question honestly in one of the interviews. And I said, you know what? I'm a very detailed person, whatever I do. But sometimes my level of detailing, goes that deep that it upsets the timelines sometimes. But you know what? I have over time tried to recover that because a team member, as a manager, I am a detailed person, but my team member may not be as detailed. And then he'll drag me off the time schedules. So what I did, I sat down with my team member, started working with him, and work hand in hand to understand and clear his bottlenecks so that he's aligned with me on the timeline. The moment I explain that, now I'm presenting myself very smartly.
Yeah, because you're talking about your weakness, but you've also just said how you've rectified it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the way you add. So you have to figure out your own self. Okay, what could be my weakness? How have I handled it in the past? And that will work in positive for you. Okay, uh, this is one question. You could be asked the question: how do you handle tight timelines? Okay, tight time schedules. Okay, you need to really think of that. How did it happen? And now you cannot just say, you have to again talk of a story to explain how did you handle a timeline which was becoming tough on you. So you have to really talk about that. Okay, I was having a project and we are working with a tight timeline, and suddenly my project manager comes to me and says, you know what, divisional manager has given me another project and a challenging project, and we have to handle now two projects at the same time. Now, as a manager, I said, okay, fine, let's sit down. We understand it's a challenging timeline. We need to put all our resources and make sure if we have to augment the resources, we augment resources from somebody else. But we'll handle both the projects at the same time. Challenging situation. But now, if you start looking for a solution, you will find the solution. Don't get upset about tight timelines. Tight timelines will be difficult, but you have to sometimes put that kind of thought process. Okay, basically it's like this. Don't be impacted by situations. Always look for solutions. And when you start looking for solutions, you might start working on it, and you will be able to find a solution. It's about that. So yeah, that kind of approach, mental approach has to be there. But you have to be very calm. Don't get ruffled up. Don't get upset as soon as a challenge is thrown on you. Challenges will come in life, whether you like it or not. You need to be calm and composed and then look at it. Okay? There could be situations when you are asked questions, could be technical question, and you don't have the answer. You say, okay, oh, I'm stuck. What do I do? Say, I'm sorry, sir. I have done this work, but I don't remember it at this point of time. That's a great answer. Don't feel embarrassed about it. They are not expecting you to carry a full technical manual with you in mind, because manual is available in the office, right? When you're working. So you can be very upfront and say, I'm sorry, sir, I don't remember that. That's it. That's good enough. They understand that not everybody will remember everything. Okay. So these are some of the things which I think it's very vital. But bottom line is, prepare yourself well. Be confident that if not this, something else is there for me. See, remember always one thing. If one opportunity is gone, something new is coming up.
Yeah.
Always tell yourself that if this one doesn't happen, it doesn't matter. That's a God's plan. I have a better thing coming up. And invariably, they'll come true. If you lose something, a better one is coming up. Okay? So that's very, very vital to have that perspective and a mindset and a thought process that yes, something else is coming. So don't be nervous. Be really calm and composed and easy about it. Okay? If it has to happen, if you can present your value to people and your differentiator, which is called USP, to the team of interviewers, they will pick you. See, remember one thing. While you are looking for a good employer, every employer is looking for a good candidate too. I have done many interviews, and you know what? Sometimes we struggle to find the right candidate. If there's a right candidate sitting in front of me, as long as you are able to present yourself well, I won't let you go. I want to grab you because I know if not this, somebody else will grab you. It's about that, right? So that is very important.
Yeah. We are going to quickly take a short break. We're in great conversation with Dileep Nigam. Very, very inspirational always, but and we have Dileep Nigam in studio with us this morning, and we've been talking about how to be successful at an interview. What do you need to bring to your X factor? And we're getting such great advice and tips. So thank you so much. But let's talk about, we were talking about this off air, people from all sorts of levels go to interviews, no matter if it's your first job, if you're a senior executive, if you've just graduated from university. So, this is something that affects everybody.
Absolutely. So they'll ask a question, tell me about what do you know about our company? And that is where it goes to be very granular in your research. And when we are talking about preparation, that means that you do enough good research about what you're going to be. And research includes two elements. One is your job profile, and second is the company. Now, for the job profile, really you have to, when you're talking about value proposition, you need to understand the job needs. You have to align how does your experience fill the needs of the job profile. Okay, now that's one aspect. So prepare very well on that. Be very clear in what way. If they're going to ask you, okay, why do you think you are the best candidate for this position?
Yeah.
This question will come to you. And if you are not clear about that answer, you'll get stuck. They'll see that in your eyes and expressions. So you've got to be very clearly prepared. And if you don't go granular in your assessment of the job needs, and you're very crystal clear in what way you fit yourself into that, you'll fumble there. Be very prepared on that. Then comes to about the company, research about the company. Now don't just rush through the company's information. No. You spend a bit of time. Go through the annual reports, go through the profile of the company in detail. Now, what are the company's performances in the past couple of years? What are the strong areas of the companies where they are doing pretty well? What kind of clientele they'll have? What are the new research programs or upgrade programs that are coming up? What is the vision of company's chairman for the next 5 years? You need to know that. So you need to really be very detailed in making an analysis of the company and make points. See, interviewer would not mind if you are looking at your short notes while talking about a couple of points, but he'll be very happy and delighted to see that you have gone to that detail, that you are operating in these cities at this point of time, these product portfolios. You have plans to expand into these new countries, into these product portfolios in the next 5 years. And your current turnover is this many $1 million, and you are targeting to accomplish this many $1 million in the next 5 years. Wow. If you give that answer, you impress the interview board.
Because it goes to show them instantly that you want to be here.
Person. Because you could have said that you are a detailed person as a strength, but now you actually demonstrated it through another answer. And that's a very smart deal, That's a very, very smart thing to do. That you talk about, yes, how detailed you are. Okay? So that's one question, it could be asked. Another question which could be asked could be, Mr. Dileep, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? In fact, I asked this question, I was lecturing to one of the international MBA students cohort. There were 50 of them in Singapore. And he said, I just asked him to stand up. And I said, could you tell me, how would you respond to this question? He says, oh, sir, it depends upon, many factors. Where do I see myself? Because it depends upon the portfolio I'm having, depends upon the growth, many, many factors. He just gave me a very generic answer. Now, wrong. Absolutely wrong if you give that kind of answer. What should be the right answer? And again, here the X factor comes in. Your self-belief, your confidence, and your vision for future. That is what should be demonstrated from your answer. Now, what could be the answer for that? If I was asked the question, I'll say, you know what, sir? I have just graduated, but I see myself in 5 years from now leading an IT team in this company. And I'm getting ready to prepare myself, train myself, and equip myself with whatever is needed to accomplish that goal. Wow, that's called an answer.
That's a good answer, yeah.
Because what happened now, it demonstrates three things. It demonstrates your vision of your career path. It demonstrates you wanting to stabilize in this company for 5 years. You're not the hopping kind. You don't jump around. You want to stabilize, and they are looking for people who want to join the company and be stable there for a while. They are not looking for hoppers. While changing job is fine for the purpose of growth, but they don't expect, for $200 the guy will jump to another one. They are wanting to have people, because recruiting is a big resource-oriented effort. A lot of money goes into the time of executive management to recruit people. We always want to recruit people who are stable in mind and stable in their thought process. They're ambitious, but not hoppers for $100 or $200. So it's vital that you demonstrate that kind of attitude, that you are serious about the job. You want to stabilize in the job and grow in the company. And of course, 5 years down the road, if you don't grow, that's a separate story. And then they actually look for those kind of leader people. And I want to rise to the leadership level in the next 5 years, and I'll equip myself completely ready to handle that position of 5 years. Yeah,
that's a great tip.
Yeah, that's a way, Now, how do you take important decisions in life, in career? Another very important question. Of course, a lot of time it is asked at different levels, mid-level to management level. But again, this could be asked to any people because this talk is for all levels of people. So if you're asked, how do you handle important decisions? So very simple. Okay, you know what? There could be, I have a team of running a team of 10 people, and you have a subject thrown at you, and you as a leader are going to handle that question. How do you handle that? Okay, sure. We'll sit down with the team and talk about the subject and brainstorm. Take everybody's opinions, and when we take the opinion, there'll be positive and negative. They're one side and the second side. I'll patiently hear to all the opinions. So first is seek opinions, seek advice from the people, and brainstorm on the various solutions. Take a whiteboard, write down the pros and cons of various options. So let's write down what are the options emerging for a solution here. Option number one, this. Option number two, let's also write down what are the pros and cons of each option. And then you know what? Bring the team together to a consensus.
So it goes to show you're taking leadership, but
Absolutely.
you also work great in a team.
Absolutely, in a great team environment, right? So this is another very important question which works very well, and you could be asked that question. Now, if you have said as a strength, I am very good at PR skills. So how would you do that? How would you explain that? Now again, there could be a demonstration. You could demonstrate a good answer with a story, with a good story. And I gave a story once that, you know what, I had a person who was very rough with me in my team, okay, was not accepting me as a boss because he was expecting to be taken that position as a lead. And then, and he had to now report to me. He was very arrogant and upset with me for a while. But you know what? Important is be patient with people. Allow people to accept you, your thoughts and opinions as a leader. Okay? And with time, become their friend. Okay? Tell them that you appreciate people and acknowledge their positives. So the 2 words or 3 words which to win the people is appreciate people, accept people, and acknowledge people. So small times, you will have opportunities to appreciate people and acknowledge people. The moment you start appreciating people, you're already winning over his arrogance and he's becoming your friend. Go out for a cup of coffee at easy time. And then you know what? That particular time will open up. So ask him very frankly, see, I have taken over as the lead. I'm leading the whole team. Now, is there anything I can help you to grow in your career, to accomplish this position in future? He says, oh wow, this guy has interest in my growth. And he's talking of my growth, not of his growth.
His growth, yeah.
The moment you show interest in somebody else's growth, that is where you win over the people. And that's called a personal skill. So you know what? You can talk about that. You can say that we started enrolling him in the development program so that he can go to the next step of growth. And we became the best friends. That's a beautiful people's skill.
Well, Dileep ji, we could talk to you for hours because you're full of so many great tips and advice, and it's always so motivational. And of course, we'll definitely have you back in the studio. But it is coming to an end for this morning. Thank you so much for being here in the studio. That was a great conversation. And for anybody listening, if you just want to give your information, if they want to get in touch with you.
Yeah, I do understand and undertake personal counseling and career coaching. So if somebody wants to get in touch with me, my email is simply simplexcel13 Visit my Facebook page, which has got a lot of good stuff to go through, and it's simply Excel, SIMPLIEXCEL. I have a lot of posts a lot of good information uploaded there, a lot of videos which will give you a lot of good tips. And go there and request me. Send me a message if you want me to cover up in my future videos any specific topics which could help you in any way. Come back to me with your emails. My contact number is 604 349 4107. 604 349 4107. Feel free to send me a text or connect with me on Facebook. I'll accept you as a friend. And then you have the access to all my videos. There are tons of videos loaded there.
Yeah,
and I'll
awesome.
keep coming up with new content there.
All right. Thank you so much once again. And to all our listeners, make sure you stay tuned. We have a news update coming up, followed by Spicy Chat with Chat. Happy Friday. Hope everybody has a great weekend.